Hello everyone, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Thursday, January 4th, 2018. I am Michael Schwahn.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember, everybody, you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, we do go live Monday through Thursday.
Monday through Thursday
at 6 p.m. Alaska time on Facebook.
A Thursday!
And YouTube. And, of course, you can always submit stories that you would like us to talk about to our subreddit. That's the word I'm looking for. Yep, which is our iRedditcast, or via email, which is feedback.ireddit@gmail.com. Nathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I felt really tired, really distracted all day. I was kind of upset that I was taking a late lunch, and then I realized, wait, this is what I ask for all the time. Why am I upset for taking a late lunch?
I've been taking late lunches for like 3 weeks now. Instead of noon to 1, my lunch has been 1 to 2, and it makes like the time of from 2 to 5 just essentially not exist.
Me personally, I'm okay with it because I want to start doing intermittent fasting, and that definitely helps me out.
Does it?
Yeah. Because essentially I would be waking up, doing a workout, not eating until 2 anyways.
That still sounds terrible.
It's apparently really good for your body.
I don't believe you.
Do you want me to explain why?
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yeah, but you can skip it.
But
what you do is you wake up and you get your body moving and going by doing the workout, right?
Okay.
So your body's now trying to process all of the things that you've just done in your workout. It's trying to get rid of all the lactic acid, things like that, right? Well, when you do a workout and then you eat, your body's mostly working on the digestion portion. It's not really doing much for the workout portion, so your workout's not actually helping you as much as you think it is. By doing intermittent fasting, you work out initially, have your body do all of the things it needs to do, and then from 2 to, like 9 or whatever, you just eat, and all your body is thinking about is digesting the food.
Sure.
So I'm excited to try it.
If you say so.
I mean, it's what Terry Crews does, and that dude's a genius.
If you say so. He also has a lot more time and money and ability to buy everything he needs.
That's fine.
Because I think you're.
I mean, I'm already intermittently fasting without my consent anyway.
That's true. That's true. I can't argue against that. So besides that, anything else interesting happened today to you?
No, I was just kind of distracted all day.
By?
Twitter and everything.
Oh, in a good way?
Yeah, it was good. I was, following people that were following us.
So, interesting thing, and I don't know if he wants me. I'll keep it very vague. A friend of ours went traveling recently. I actually have to go pick said friend up from the airport tonight, so you can probably figure out who it is. And they, a lot of the airports, especially in the area they went to, have like gambling machines in there, where you can hang out and stuff. And he was waiting for his flight, and he's like, whatever. Walked over, put $10 in a machine, and walked out with several hundred.
Hey, that's my man.
I was like, hey, good on you, buddy. Congratulations. It doesn't even pay for your trip, but congratulations.
And there starts the blossoming of a beautiful gambling addiction.
I say addiction? Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, considering he used to live in a place where that's like the entire purpose of life, and
that's who I was guessing you were talking about.
I mean, so if he was going to get a gambling addiction, I'm pretty sure he would have already gotten one.
How do you know he doesn't already?
I don't actually. Good point.
Maybe he moved up here to get away from all the gambling.
Maybe.
Because like at best we have up here is like pull tabs.
Yeah, or the little scratchers.
Yeah.
Are those the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Why are they called pull tabs?
I don't know.
I know you like pull them off of a reel, and maybe it's because
I think that's why.
And they're like a little tab, like because there's a little tab of paper you scratch off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I'm not sure why, but you know what? Oh, I guess bingo is also a thing. Bingo's pretty big up here.
Is bingo considered gambling?
I don't believe so. That's why it's able to thrive up here. For instance, I had a friend who I worked with walk into a bingo parlor one night and walk out with like $400 or $500. My uncle Lee, I don't think he's in the chat. He might be in the chat. He used to go bingoing with my grandma and my great grandma and all that. And he would walk away with money, too. They would get really drunk, go gambling.
Bingo.
Well, not gambling, but bingoing.
Bingoing.
Yeah.
Bingoing.
B-I-N-G-O.
5,
B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
United States to end policy that let legal pot flourish.
This was submitted by N. Roxors to our news. This is some bullshit.
This is concerning. So, back in, what was it, like 2011, 2012, when Colorado and Washington put forth a vote to legalize marijuana within their borders, the problem at that point was that state law and federal law now completely contradicted one another. And so the federal government is like, well, what do we want to do? And under the Obama administration, they looked it over and read about it and decided to take a very hands-off approach and let the people in each state decide for themselves what they want.
Isn't that what is ultimately supposed to happen? It's supposed to really come down to the state's choice?
Sort of. I mean, it depends. I mean, the federal government is, the overarching umbrella, and then they kind of just let some things on the state level go, do what they want. Now, however, if a state was like, we think we're going to say it's legal to murder people, the federal government's going to say, no, you can't purge your people. Sorry. Overruled. Wrong.
Understandable so, though.
So, in this case, though, they said, you know what, we won't interfere, we'll stay very hands-off, we'll be very lax about it because, in the state where it's legal, whatever. Now, there's a lot of discussion amongst that because there were people that were growing legally in, like, Colorado and then driving over the border to, like, Kansas and selling it where it's illegal for a premium. And that's a problem because then you have legal stuff in one state bleeding into another state.
Do you know how you fix that?
Legalize it in the other state.
Oh, my God, you just legalize it across the board.
Well, United States Attorney General Jeff Sessions decided to roll back the memo.
Jeff Butthole Sessions?
Yes, Jeff Butthole Sessions decided to roll back that memo that said the federal government won't get involved. So that is no longer applicable, which means in the 8 states across the United States where they have completely legalized recreational marijuana, and in the 29 states, I think it is now, that is legalized medical marijuana, if the federal government wanted to, they could come in and really make a mess.
This is an open letter right now to Jeff Sessions. Go fuck yourself.
Go FCC yourself? Can we just put him in the same...
No, straight up go fuck yourself.
Put him in the same boat with Mr.
Giant,
Ajit
tightwad piece of shit.
Well, and he says, that marijuana ruins lives, that it's as bad, if not worse, than heroin, which is hilarious.
No! No! Not at all! There is zero reason why marijuana should be a Schedule 1 narcotic.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God, just as bad as heroin. Yeah, open letter right here. Go fuck yourself, buddy, because you are a wrong piece of shit.
And we don't know what's going to happen from this. Because California, which is already been determined to become the largest marijuana economy in the country, which is expected to do over $1 billion a year annually by as soon as next year. They just legalized it 2 days ago.
Well, this is one of the reasons why I can't be a politician, because I would stand up in Senate or whatever and just go fuck yourself.
I mean, they learn how to say exactly that without saying that.
Draven, he's already on my political platform. Go fuck yourself because you're wrong piece of shit. You're a wrong piece of shit. Nathan Wood.
I am apparently not seeing the chat. It makes me sad. Anyway, you see Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren do it all the time. Of they stand up and very respectfully and in a lot of very pretty flourishing words say, "Eat a fat one."
Yo, but I wouldn't be that nice. I would legitimately just go, "Hey, can I have the floor?" Stand up, walk over there. You're a piece of shit. Go fuck yourself.
And then you're removed, unfortunately. And
I would be removed so fucking much.
Not from office, just from the floor.
Exactly. I would get zero time to talk because I would tell people they're pieces of shit because you know what? They are.
You suck and you suck and you suck and you
and you're cool and fuck you.
Oh, man. So really right now, that's just what's happened. We don't know what's going to happen next. We just kind of have to wait and see, unfortunately.
I hope at this point they just legalize it across the board. I mean, I guarantee it'll get vetoed, but like, I want everyone to just finally, you know, come to terms with how marijuana is not actually bad for you. Well, it is bad for you in some ways, but it's not as nearly as bad for you as literally anything else on that fucking narcotics list.
I mean, and the easiest comparison is like, look how bad alcohol is for you.
And that's legal. And look how bad tobacco is for you, and that's legal.
Yeah. So.
4.
Emmanuel Macron announces fake news law.
This was submitted by Adam Cannon to Our World News.
So, speaking of, like, one of the most terrifying world leaders that is on normally, like, the decent side of politics, like, he is an awesome guy, but do you know his story, by the way?
No.
It is scary. Like, so, when the dude was, like, 14, or, like, first thing we'll talk about is his wife. When he was, like, 14, he met this, like, 29-year-old woman. And it was his teacher I'm getting from behind me, and he straight up tells her, I love you, and I'm going to marry you. And she was married at the time. With kids.
What?
Move forward 10 years-ish. He's done with college, he's got his platform and everything, and he borderline, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, walks over and goes, we're getting married. And she goes, oh, okay. And the dude goes, I'm going to become president of France. And everyone goes, what? Yeah, I'm going to become president of France. And everyone went, oh, you're president of France now. I'm going to make really big, weird, swingy decisions that make people very concerned. But everyone is so concerned about who I am that they're just going to sit there and balk while I continue to make decisions.
He's like French Putin.
Yeah, kind of, except he's actually kind of an asshole too. He's just not on, like, that's the thing when we've talked about it several times in the past, like with how much power like Disney and Google and Amazon and stuff has. It was like, I'm really glad you're on the relatively good side the majority of the time. Like when Disney was like, you know what, Georgia, if you don't let gay people be in your state, we're just not going to make movies anymore. And Georgia went, what does that mean for our economy? It means we will no longer be able to afford to even be a state. What? Yeah, they literally essentially fund the entire Georgia government. Oh, so we're going to let gay people do what they want then? Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Yo, and Georgia has a bunch of laws when it comes to content creation there. A lot of video games and other things are made in Georgia. You'll notice before you start up a lot of video games, even like Smite and stuff, you'll see a peach with Georgia flashed across the top.
Yeah.
Because you have to mandatorily put that there, but at the same time, you're saving so much money by making your game in Georgia compared to other places.
Yep, and that's why a lot of people do it there. But Disney was like, we can afford to not make stuff here.
Because we're fucking Disney.
And Georgia just kind of cringed. Anyway, so in regards to what actually the French
They're
president...
like, hey, Georgia, you can suck D's nuts.
And they went, okay. So what the French president is doing is he is upset about fake news, which is understandable, especially considering how much we have seen propagated and how much it flourished across just our own election last year. I mean, like one of the biggest ones that got spread everywhere. I saw it like every week.
The pizza place?
No.
Oh, okay.
What?
There was one that was like, yo, Hillary Clinton and a bunch of other people have, like, a child sex pedophile ring underneath a pizza place.
Oh, no, the one that I was thinking...
Some dude burst into the place with a gun, was like, yo, you're going to release all these children.
No, well, I do remember that one. But the one that kept getting shared and shared on every platform was a picture of Trump from, like, it was like 1970 or 1980, and it had the text on there of, if I ever ran for president, I would run as a Republican because those people are stupid and will elect anybody, or something to that effect. And then it was like Time Magazine, 1988, or something to that effect. He never said that. Never said anything close to that whatsoever. But someone made that image, put it on Facebook, and then the internet went, wee! And,
Yeah, they really run, you know?
And stuff like that is a problem. And so the French president is looking to try to limit things like that, because he saw that deliberate attempts were made to blur the line between truth and lies using specifically social media. So what he's wanting to do, he's trying to now look at how you and we even talked about it with what was the protest that happened in Texas where Russia propagated both sides for like $400 and managed to make a huge protest and counter protest.
Oh, fuck. I don't even remember what it was
remember
about.
what the topic was. I think it was about Islamic members of their community, I think.
I want to say so, too. It's got to be, like, either Muslims or like, something very close.
And they managed that whole thing for, like, what was it, like $400?
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was real fucking cheap.
And so the French president is like, with just a few $1,000s, you can spread a massive untruth that can sway everything and everybody when it has no basis in fact whatsoever. And we have found, and Facebook has talked about, Chadwick says, what? Was that a neutral Trump story? Oh my God. I don't know. Was it? Are you talking about me defending the stupid fake news of Trump? Anyway, so he was saying that there needs to be ways to prevent that. So he's proposing imposing tougher rules on social media about revealing sources of where these people got their news from. Also wants to talk about putting limits on how much could be spent for sponsored news material on things like Facebook, so that there can actually be some level of credence and defense,
credibility.
Yeah, to what is being spread all over the place.
When I first heard about Macron announcing this fake news laws and everything, my first gut reaction, without reading anything about it, was, oh man, that is not good. Even if it's fake news, you don't really want to be silencing some people in some fucking fashion. But I feel like this is warranted, really.
Well, and it's not silencing people so much as trying to prevent a mass of misinformation.
Yeah, because you know fucking what? There's so many misinformed people. Look who we have in office.
Yeah, we do.
We have a misinformed person in office.
We have tons of misinformed people in office and people that are completely out of touch, and it's very upsetting.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting, depressing, upsetting. Yeah, all of those.
Blah.
And so I'm not sure how they would actually do this. He's looking at figuring out how to actually implement it, because it's really hard. Because like the picture that I was referencing earlier, that was literally just a picture that people were like, oh, yeah, share this because I don't like Trump. Share it, share it, share it, share it, share it. It was shared millions of times. And that's bad.
Well, yeah.
Like the only thing I can...
It's hard when a lot of the internet is pretty strictly American, honestly.
Well, and that's actually pretty far from the truth. But
is it?
Even beyond that, the issue is like in the example of that picture, what do you do? I mean, and Chadwick raises the same concern of how does this affect anonymous sources? Because like that picture could have been made by anybody. You can probably track it back to the original person that posted it, depending on how it gets shared. But I mean, you can still just save the picture on your phone, post it again, and you know, like I can see that picture, save it on my phone, post it, and then people start sharing my post. And now it looks like I'm the original poster.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it seems like they need to really sit down and hash this out, because it's very nice words.
It is. And we've already talked about previously how like the United States government wanted to try and put that burden onto Facebook, and Facebook's like, no, not our responsibility. And they're like, it kind of is. It's your platform, and it's the problem. But at the same time, like, what do you do? Because like without pretty advanced technology that would be difficult to implement, you can't read the text on that picture.
No,
like it's just a JPEG.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you would have to like work off a system where if somebody sees a picture that's like that, they would have to report it, in which case, because it's been reported, it either gets taken down or puts a disclaimer above it saying that there's no sources.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like, people will ignore that shit, though. It doesn't help prevent the spread of it.
Well, absolutely, but you know what? The little bit of people that would read it and are actually informed, it would shift it. You know, you would still have people reading it and being more informed. To the people who aren't going to read it anyways.
Sure. I just feel like there needs to be more than that or something along those lines. Because, like, in the example of the people that are informed, like, when it came to that picture that showed up that I was talking about of Trump saying, you know, I'd run Republican because they're stupid and will vote for anybody, I was like, man, that seems, you know, strong even for him. Google. No, that's fake. That's fake as crap. So, like,
thinking back, you know, hey, that's strong even for him. At the time, yes, that's strong even for him. I honestly feel like that's something he would say now.
Maybe. I mean, but beyond that, though, the people that want to be informed already are. Everyone else just wants to, you know, express an opinion that is easily swayed by a single picture. Yeah. I feel people need to start doing more research on their shit. I'm learning now that I should also do more research on my shit before I post. Chadwick goes on to ask, you know, about those anonymous sources. Half of New York Times and Washington Post use anonymous sources. That has been something that has existed for as long as the press has existed, is the option of remaining anonymous. And the question that is raised by some people is, how do I know that there's an actual source and you're not just making this up and using an anonymous source? They have a record of it, but you are able to remain anonymous. Now, I'm not sure how that works if actual litigation is brought up against something like a news article or something like that. I'm not sure if they can force you to reveal your sources. They probably can under certain circumstances.
Maybe they have to force you to verify your sources.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not certain. I don't know enough about how that law works, but it's not a new thing in terms, and they're not trying to lie to you or to hide anything from it. I mean, there have been cases where, like, there have been stories where they have their anonymous sources. They even said that from like 2 or 3 anonymous sources that were senators, which means that they were able to say, yes, we talked to a government official that is in office about this, and this is what they said. So, I mean, if it ever came to a point where they had to, you know, substantiate it, they probably are able to.
Yeah. I just hope that that this becomes a positive thing coming forward, and that they figure out how to fucking do it, because, like, there's too much shit that just doesn't belong there. You know, I feel like there needs to be more verified sources when it comes to writing articles.
Well, and even beyond articles. Again, I'll keep on, you know, beating the same horse in the form of that picture. That was no article. That was literally just somebody
just
went
a
into
picture even. Yeah,
someone went to Photoshop and went slap and went, that looks funny, share.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, I would like to see what he does, though, you know?
I mean, there are answers that we just don't know yet. I'm sure there is a solution that we are not seeing, that maybe everyone isn't seeing. Whether it's a development of technology or some sort of implementation in terms of how things interact with the system, I don't know. There is an answer to this, because while it is a large problem, at the same time it should be solvable. Jennifer in the chat room says, in a court of law, any accused person has the constitutional right to see the accuser, so no anonymous sources there. There you go.
I feel like we should all go back to being science-based.
3.
Fuck testimony.
Trump dissolves voter fraud commission.
Oh, this is submitted by Esteban was eaten to our politics.
So,
did it do anything?
Well, first, this is the commission that he himself instituted. He put this commission into place in May over the belief that there was a large amount of voter fraud that existed across the United States. some people will harp on how, he was like, I only lost the 3 million votes of the popular vote to Hillary Clinton because of voter fraud. So making the claim that there was over 3 million false votes that happened in the United States. Now, the reason he is dissolving it is basically because the states have all told the commission to go fuck itself.
Well, as they should.
When this was announced, I said, I think it's petty the reason that he is making it, but I am glad that it is being looked into at all. Because I'm sure there is some level of problem that exists in the country. And maybe not just because, dead people are voting or people are voting in more than one states, but I could also see, I don't know if it went under their banner, but voter fraud I also would put into the sake of, we talked about how, people were destroying votes and stuff like that in certain states.
That's true.
I was hoping that was also stuff they would look into. But they were asking for, they were submitting records requests and stuff like that from the states, and the majority of states just told them no and told them to go to hell. And so it made no progress at all. So Trump gave up on it and said, this is a waste of time and money. And that's where it's probably coming from, is that he's like, this is showing no results and it's still costing money. We're done with that.
You know what? Sure. I'm okay with that.
But I'm pretty sure this is only upvoted because people see Trump dissolves voter fraud commission, which just sounds hilarious in the grand scope of things. But, I mean, if something isn't working and it's just costing money, I mean, of course Trump's going to be like, no, get out. That's been a humongous piece of his entire administration of, does this cost us money? Yes. Is it absolutely necessary? If the answer is no, then it needs to go.
Well, it looks like, this wasn't necessary.
I wouldn't say that. I still think this is still something that is necessary and needs to be addressed. This just wasn't the correct vehicle to do so.
So you're saying he should try again, but better?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I also heard a lot of things coming from them asking, people who weren't allowed to ask for that information were still asking for it anyways.
Well, there were some lawsuits that said that they were not following federal record-keeping laws. Don't know much past that, so.
Well, maybe if it happens again, let's hope to see positive things come from it.
Maybe.
And not a giant fucking flop.
I mean, people like to harp on Trump for the number of failed businesses he has and the number of times he's declared bankruptcy in different ways. That's what he does, is he tries something, and if it works, awesome. If it doesn't, he drops it and moves on to something else. That's how Trump has ran his entire life.
Yeah.
So.
2.
Intel was aware of the chip vulnerability when its CEO sold off $24 million in company stock.
Is submitted to SP Sheridan to our technology.
Nathan.
What?
You want to know what's really illegal?
This?
Insider trading.
Oh.
Do you remember Martha Stewart and how she went to jail for a really long time? Because
Yeah, I do remember.
And
then she started a show with fucking Snoop Dogg, and guess who's been to jail and who hasn't?
Well, and because, someone came to Martha Stewart and was like, hey, this is about to happen and all your money's going to disappear. And she went, oh, shit, and sold off all of her stocks. Well, that's considered insider trading. You had insider knowledge, and so you based your decisions off of that. Well, that's not technically legal because you had information that other people didn't have. So it's kind of like, in a weird way, it's kind of like tying somebody to the ship that you know is going to sink. But, I mean, if the captain knew the ship was going to sink, he should have let people know before he himself jumped into a lifeboat. So, Google told Intel back in June that there was a massive vulnerability with all of their chips. Literally all of them. All of their chips for over the last 20 years have these two vulnerabilities in them. So, that's a concern. Now, that said...
So, if you have these chips, you guys should probably get different ones?
No. It can be easily addressed with software and firmware updates. So, make sure, Windows has already released an update for it. If you have a Windows PC, and if you know you have an Intel chip, then, update your computer, good to go. You should also update like your browsers, basically anything that can be updated at all that's already quickly being addressed. The problem is that Google found the vulnerability, told Intel in June. Intel just told everyone this week. So 6 months later is when they told everybody. But sometimes that happens, they want to review it, make sure they can figure out defenses for it before they let the entire world know, because as soon as someone knows there's a vulnerability in something, they go, how can I exploit it? So that's not uncommon that they don't tell people right away. The problem is that the CEO made a declaration in October that he was going to offload some stock, and this is very normal. They maintain a very high level of activity of their stocks, and to avoid the appearance of corruption, they give notice that in the near future they are going to offload stocks. When he gave this notice, though, he was already aware of the vulnerability in the chip, and he normally does about around $2.5 million in activity each year in terms of his stock trading and his stock options, right? So it wasn't unexpected for him to have activity. The thing that was unexpected was that he did 10 times the amount of activity. He got rid of all of his stock except for 250,000 shares, which he is required to have as part of his agreement to be a CEO of Intel. He has to have 250,000 shares of Intel to be the CEO. So he got rid of everything that he wasn't required to have, which ended up adding up to $24 million. And that looks real bad when you knew that you were going to be announcing that there was a problem with your keystone product.
Yeah, I feel like they really shouldn't have done that because they kind of screwed the pooch now that everything's public.
Well, I mean, it's not a problem for Intel. This is not. I mean, it is a problem for Intel. Intel's stock dropped a couple percent, and they're having to deal with the fallout of our chips have been apparently had a vulnerability for 20 years. Sorry, that's the business problem. The actual problem is his in terms of selling off his stock. Intel won't get in trouble for him offloading all of his stock when he had insider knowledge.
Gotcha.
He
just
will.
Him.
Yeah.
Well, fuck.
Yeah. There hasn't been an official investigation or anything launched yet, but chances are real good he's going to go to jail.
Oh. Well, that's good. That's a little bit of justice there,
I guess.
At least a little bit.
I guess. The dude had $24 million in stock. I don't know if it's justice exactly. Unless he has to...
I guess it depends on how long he goes to jail for.
And if there's a really nice, healthy fine, I guess.
And what kind of jail? Because he could go to the cushy jail where you're pretty much just sitting in your own house, fucking watching TV and hitting the internet all day.
Yeah. So, we'll see.
I don't want him to go to cushy jail. I want to go to big, scary jail.
Chadwick says we're weirding him out today. Why are we weirding you out, Chadwick?
Maybe he's agreeing with us, and that's the problem.
Oh, maybe that is the problem.
1.
After beating cable lobby, Colorado City moves ahead with Muni Broadband.
This was submitted by Mavia to our Futurology.
So, and we had talked about this previously about the entirety of the lobbying that had been going on in Fort Collins, Colorado. Fort Collins, after the net neutrality vote went through with the FCC, was like, screw that, we'll just put in our own internet and we'll institute our own net neutrality.
And I'll have hookers.
And Comcast, as well as a good amount of other telecommunication agencies in Colorado, put forth $900,000 in opposition opposing this ordinance. I'm not sure what it's called. I mean, there's 7 different names for what is essentially a proposition that you vote on. Anyway, and the pro-ordinance or proposition group spent $15,000 compared to the opposition's $900,000, and it went through. And then it was approved by the city council, and so they're going to be working towards going forward with instituting essentially what is municipal broadband.
Nice.
But they intend to install fiber service, which will have no data cap and will be completely net neutral and will cost roughly $70 a month.
That's not even that bad. That's less than what I pay.
And it'll be gigabyte fiber service, so it'll actually be even better than what we have.
Oh! Yo, you want me to move? This is how you get me to move.
And the sad thing is that all current internet service providers could provide exactly this.
But they choose.
But they choose not to because it does not maximize profits.
And, like, I can understand wanting to maximize profits in a capitalist society, right? But when you have a utility and you're trying to maximize profits on a utility, you're just being a dickhead.
Well, also, one, it's not considered a utility anymore because the FCC removed that.
Oh, that's right.
But also, two, the other thing is, like, it baffles me that, because, like, what was it? Comcast reports, is it $6 billion a month in profit? Not revenue, profit. Literally extra money they're making. It's like 3 or 6 billion a month.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yet they claim it is too expensive to implement fiber service where they provide. You're full of shit.
Absolutely. You guys are being just dickheads.
I don't believe you for a second.
Dude, it would be hard pressed for me to take an entire second to try and believe you.
Yeah, right? I just won't. Oh shit! Oh shit! Anti-abortion protests now come with rules as of February 1st.
This was submitted by OTT2K6 to our iReadit cast.
So, and this is specifically in Ottawa, Canada. And what it is because there's been lots of anti-abortion protests that have happened recently, but they were crowding the entrances to abortion clinics and essentially harassing anybody that went in. So they are now creating a 50 to 150 meter bubble zone around anywhere that provides this service of you can still protest, but you have to stay this far away because they're essentially, they were harassing people.
I really like that. I feel like that should be implemented everywhere because people have the right to their body and autonomy.
Well, and people are, talking about this is censoring free speech. It's like, no, you can still protest. You just can't assault people that are trying to walk into a building.
Yeah, you can still say what you want to say. You just got to do it 150 feet away from here.
Meters.
Meters, I'm sorry.
So, like, if it is a clinic that provides it, it's 50 meters. If it is a home, which I have no idea how the hell that works, but apparently
home abortions are a thing if you are qualified to do them.
Apparently. Well, if it is a home of somebody who provides an abortion service...
A lot of religious people, actually, you can do them, and maybe not abortions, but I know at least circumcisions they do.
It is a 150-meter bubble.
So, stay away from people's homes.
Yeah, leave. Like, and the thing is like, that protesting in front of an anti-abortion clinic and harassing the people that are going into it does not prevent it from happening. Like,
you mean protesting an abortion clinic?
Yeah, like if you want,
you said anti-abortion clinic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anti-abortion protesting in front of a clinic doesn't prevent it from happening unless you are literally scaring the people away from going in, which is what they were doing. Like, if you want to change it to where people can't do that, like, that's what the government's for.
Yeah, but at the same time, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit 2 buttons at once. That's fine. Scientists...
Dude, that was awesome, though.
Scientists find Alzheimer's treatment while trying to cure diabetes.
Submitted by Chadwick via email.
I love Oops Science. Oops Science is great.
Yeah.
So they were trying to cure diabetes, and they found the medication, which is known as a triple receptor drug or triple agonist. What it does is it helps deter the brain from degenerating and promotes it to grow itself back.
Yo, that's so cool. Now we don't even need stem cells, right?
I mean, we can still look into them. They're extremely useful.
We should.
It's not
with all those aborted fetuses, right?
It's not something that we can look at right immediately. It's still extremely what's the word I'm looking for?
Experimental.
Experimental. Thank you. That is exactly the word I'm looking for. They're working on it in mice right now. It's showing a lot of progress, but this is the first actual development towards a new treatment of Alzheimer's in 15 years.
That's impressive.
We've just had a hard time figuring out any way to treat it.
So good, because Alzheimer's is so...
It's terrible. It's terrible for everybody. It's terrible for the people around the person. It's terrible for the person themselves. And in the end, the person dies. Like, it is a terrible, terrible disease.
And then everyone gets PTSD because they wish to not get Alzheimer's.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me. Nathan, what'd you care about in the last 24 hours? I gave you one. I wasn't sure if you actually did or not.
I really enjoyed the memes from that, and that's some Oregonians in panic mode after law allowing motorists to pump their own gas takes effect. I didn't realize that they had a law against pumping your own gas still there.
They have had for the last 60 years a law against pumping your own gas.
And that's absolutely stupid. And I've seen some of these memes and some of these pictures of these stupid-ass people not knowing what to do, and it's fucking gold.
Well, I mean, it's not stupid that they can't pump their own gas. I mean, it does provide jobs, very low-end, easy-access jobs for a lot of people.
Sure. Children and everything.
Well, I meant 17-year-olds.
Yeah, children.
Sure, okay. But they went into panic because the new law says that it is no longer required that someone else pump your gas in counties that have 44,000 people or less. So it's not even the whole state. It's just very rural areas. But people are freaking the fuck out.
It's pretty great. Honestly, it's really, really funny.
Yeah.
I've been my favorite photo right now is this gal, and she's holding the fucking pump a foot away, and she's
dumping gas on her car
all over it. I was fucking crying. It was so funny.
Which, I mean, if you've never had to do it, I can understand why it would be confusing. But at the same time, you never once paid attention to someone doing it?
Right? You didn't get curious at any point. You didn't just look back through your rear view mirror to watch them do it.
Not even that. If you're sitting there and there's a car in front of you, you didn't see him do it to the car in front of you?
Oh my god, this one has this lady holding her pump upside down, pumping. Oh, I'm crying.
Did you care about anything else recently, Nathan?
Fuck you, Jeff Sessions.
Very well then.
Oh, here it is. In a huge fuck you to Jeff Sessions, the Vermont House of Representatives voted 81 to 63 in favor of legalizing recreational marijuana merely hours after Sessions removed protections for states that have voted to legalize.
Where was this?
Vermont.
Nice. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. And then the thing I cared about in the last 24 hours is that, surprisingly, really surprisingly, especially considering the numbers that I've seen recently, the Nintendo Switch, in the 10 months that it has come out, has become the fastest-selling video game of all time in the United States.
It's popular.
I know it's popular, but I've seen, the sales numbers of comparing systems, and the Switch is still, in the floor compared to PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. I know that they had a lot of time to build up that number.
Mm-hmm. It all comes down to time. The PlayStation 4 and the fucking Xbox One have been out for quite a bit longer.
Yeah. Now, that said, I have a Switch. I love the Switch. It is an incredible system. It's a great family system. I am also really happy to see that they went back to cartridges because it allows them to do amazing things with with a very small little thing. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a beautiful game that is huge. But because it's on a cartridge and you have a massive amount of storage space on a cartridge compared to any form of disc, the game's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only gripe, the single only gripe I have with the Switch, and it's not even really a gripe, is that it doesn't get 1080p.
Yeah.
720p is perfectly fine for me.
The gripe that I have with the Switch is that its controllers are fucking expensive.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Good God. Another set of Joy-Cons is $70.
Yeah, the controllers are wicked expensive.
Wicked expensive. They are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pain.
Yeah, I don't understand why their dongles cost that much. Maybe it's because you have to have both of them and it costs a bunch to make them or something. I don't know.
There's a couple pieces for it. They have really, really good gyroscopes in them. They are very sensitive in terms of how you're tilting them and how you're turning them and stuff like that.
Same.
And
I'm very sensitive to how you tilt me.
They technically have wireless chargers in them. You don't plug the Joy-Cons in. They just need to be hooked into the screen, and it charges through the plastic.
Which is really cool.
So, I mean, there is level of reason to why they're expensive, but I'm certain they're still overpriced. Considering the dock is literally just a USB-C to HDMI adapter, it's literally all it is, and it costs $70 for a new dock to hook it up to your TV.
Pass.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like, it's funny because I'm curious what just the screen, the actual system itself, would cost. Because if you think about it, the controller, like, it's $300 out of the box for a Switch. That comes with the $70 dock, the $70 Joy-Cons. It's like $20 for the little things that the Joy-Cons slip into. So that's $160, which leaves $140 for the screen.
I mean, I guess I don't know. They probably don't cost that much. You could probably either that or they cost more than that. And the only reason why you can't buy it separate for less is because of that.
I mean, and if it is a loss leader, it by far wouldn't be the first one. I mean, almost the PlayStation 3 and 4 were both loss leaders of it cost more to make the system than they were selling it for initially. But it was about getting the product out and earning your money back off of the profits of the game sales.
You know, that's pretty understandable.
So, I don't know.
Because once you get the system out, you're going to be earning a bunch just by the games.
And they do earn a good bit off of the games. So, anyway, you ready to get out of here?
Yo, a funny story. When the system first came out, when the Switch first came out, more copies of Breath of the Wild were sold than copies of the Switch.
It's because there weren't Switches available.
Not only that, it's because people were going in and going, hey, I need to buy a gift for, my friend who just got the Switch, not knowing they already had it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just find it hilarious.
Because there was a point where there were, like, you could find copies of Zelda easily, but you were lucky if you could find a Switch.
Yeah.
Which confused me, by the way, because, like, I have a couple friends in California. They're like, I can't find a Switch anywhere. And we had them littering the shelves up here because it's Alaska and we don't have very many people here. And I was like, you want me to send you one?
You could probably mark that shit up, make some bank.
I'm way too lazy to do that.
Yeah, same.
Anyway, let's get out of here. Everybody, if you'd please consider supporting the show, please go to patreon.com/dailyinternet. We have to personally thank Zach.
Oh, that's what I cared about. I'm sorry. Really quick. Those people who think that they can cut potatoes and leave it in your socks overnight to detox your body, you're dumb.
What?
I have a friend who is like, I came down with a bug earlier this week. It hit me really hard. I seen on a list of home remedies if you cut a white potato if you out a white potato in the fridge for the day, then at night cut them into slices and place them in your socks. Then you wake up, they should be black from toxins leaving your body. Everyone said it doesn't work. A potato turns black if you cut it regardless. So I tried it. The 4 slices I had in my socks clearly blackened. The slice I'm holding is the potato I cut it from, and I left on the counter all night. I slept all last night. My cough is minimized. I think it was worth a shot regardless. Let me tell you about why those are black and the other one is not. Because you have more dirt and grime on your feet and in your socks than you do on your kitchen counter. In addition, the reason why your cough is minimized and you feel better is because the magic that is the placebo effect.
Also sleeping.
Sleeping also
helps. Your body
helps,
heals a ton while you're sleeping.
It's amazing how fucking the placebo effect works.
So we need to thank 2 of our very massive contributors that upped their contributions for 1 month in order to get Nathan to shave to the beautiful face you see now. That is Zach and Kit. Thank you very much for your contributions. We will continue to thank you throughout the rest of this month.
You did this to me.
They did it to you, Nathan. If you would like to join in with others, go to patreon.com/dailyinternet. If you would like to help us out in other ways, 5-star reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play help us immensely. It gains us visibility. And, of course, follow and share us on social media, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. No, fuck. Repeated those over. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. All of those are at iReaditCast. If you'd like to follow me anywhere, I'm at Schwahn Michael, and Nathan is at Bimmenstein. If you have stories you want us to talk about, submit them to our subreddit as OTT2K6 did today, and that is our iReaditCast, or, as Chadwick did today, send it in via email, which is feedback.ireddit@gmail.com. That is it, everybody. That is your 410th dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwahn.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everybody,
Don't get eliminated!
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.